All right, and we're live with round 4 of the Backyard Brawl tournament. This time we have Snom versus Vigma. Uh, Snom is how I will be referring to Snow Katsune there. Ah. Alright, just letting the players know that I just started the stream and they are all set to go. I just need to post the stream link, because that would probably help if any viewers and stuff. Don't need that anymore. Alright, here we go. I need this on my other screen so I can actually see. Looks like we're looking good here. Looks like we're looking good here, looking good here. Yeah, we're all good. Alright, so we see Amelia Rage drafted first by Snom, and Vigma will be following up with a May and a Leo Whitefang pick. So we have 3 Season 7 characters drafted so far. We'll see if we get any other seasons. Of course, the rules are that they are doing a draft format back and forth, and then they will do at least 2 Season 7 characters in their draft, and then one of another season that's not, or the Season 4 plus. Looks like we're going to see a Testament and a Propeller Knight. And then Vigma will grab the Polar Knight. So we have 2 Season 4s and then 4 Season 7s. Alright. They went ahead and set up the character select hidden areas. So we will go ahead and see what they end up with for order. Alright. I see the selection bag has come already out. I actually haven't seen these used too much. These are for pretty official tournament stuff to kind of like hide. They create hidden areas for the character picks, allow the players some privacy to go ahead and get everything chosen to kind of prevent stuff like counter picks and whatnot. It's a cool feature. I personally don't use it a lot myself, but so this is one of the first times I'm seeing it. I've accidentally clicked on the button before, but it's a pretty neat area. Alright, looks like we have Testament, Milia, Propeller into Leo, May, Polar. They might need to change matchup 4. Hopefully they figure that out, otherwise I'll have to let them know. Yeah, I think they're realizing that they both accidentally put their season 4 at the end. I'm sure they'll get that straightened out here in a second. Yeah, it looks like Vigma will go ahead and put the Polar Knight up 1 so that they're obeying the rules of the tournament, which say that they have to have at least 1 Season 7 character in every matchup. So it looks like our matchups will be Leo versus Testament, Milia versus Polar, and Propeller versus May. Now, Leo is a wild swinger. There are a couple different playstyles for Leo. There's the generic, just kind of wild swing, throw your options out there once you get an Exceed, because the +1 speed, +1 power is really nice. And then there's the kind of like more calculated Leo play, because there are ways to go ahead and fix Leo's deck. He does have stuff like Stulls here, which allow him to place a card from his hand on top of his deck, which helps him become more calculated in what he draws rather than just drawing whatever's in there. Of course, Leo normally has pretty good options in his deck anyways, but drawing Spike at about range 1 doesn't really help too much, you know? Testament, on the other hand, is about a mid-range zoner, I want to say. They have some good options for 3 to 6, and then they have 4 range, 5 range, classic 3 range. And a pretty decent zoner character. They also have push or pull 1 on every normal, which means that these grasps send the enemy flying to the side stage. Alright, looks like they ended up with Leo going first, so they're going to go ahead and start on the mulling part here. 1 card mold, 2 cards mold. And a third card mold for Leo. Leo deciding on maybe a fourth. Looks like Leo's got a fourth mold. Alright. And now Testament is deciding on their moles. So far we're only seeing 2 cards. Testament just made the mistake of drawing their entire deck, which is I don't think what they wanted to do. Sometimes if you click the button a couple of times in Tabletop Sim, you'll get the entire deck in your hand. Not exactly what you want. I think they're probably just discussing how they want to fix it real fast. With Testament going second, I imagine they're just going to treat it as a mole 4. Yeah, that's exactly what they did. Seems like Testament accidentally lost a card in the thing there. Yeah, they're back up to full 28, full 30. All right, we'll see how Leo wants to start this off, being a range 4 versus Testament. Testament does have options at this range, the normal options like dive and such, but they do also have their Arbiter signs, which their Arbiter sign rising is a bit fast, so it does counter some stuff like the classic dive maneuver. Seems we get a pride boost on the Blitzschlag from Leo to just go ahead and advance those 2 to get away from that possibility of being Arbiter signed immediately. Making it here Testament's turn. I imagine Testament doesn't want to be too close to Leo, because once Leo gets his engine going, he's kind of scary to deal with. Now, Leo doesn't have any front side ability other than it says that when if he stuns the opponent, he gets to Exceed. His Exceed is where his place is at. Or see the Unholy Diver get put here into the cross. Unholy Diver will win out. Just poke Leo for 1. Now it's a boost. Now they get to perform the now, which is advance or retreat 1. Question is, where do they want to go? They're going to advance 1 into Leo's face. Now, they do have on hit +1 power and gate advantage. Leo does have to be a little bit scared of getting grasped because they will get thrown to a very far range. I think it's range, yeah, they'll get thrown to range 4 with a grasp here. So I'm wondering if that's what Testament's playing for. Yeah, Testament just played for the grasp, and it looks like Leo called it out with the grasp as his own. So Leo did stun, so Leo will now Exceed. Now this is the scary Leo Light Fang, because Leo Light Fang gets +1 speed, +1 power, which means all of his options are just better. They're just better than they were. And the only time he has to revert is when he ends a turn without striking. Now, we'll see here what looks like vgma is just going to go ahead and go for the crazy wild swing play here at range 2. I can respect it. We'll have to see if Snom here is going to be able to keep up with this manner of play. Looks like we have a cross into the stall verbal. The stall verbal will be invalidated. And then we get a sweep. The sweep will lose to the cross, and the cross actually gets to push or pull 1, which is really funny. Yep, there we go. And now Leo is across the stage. This is one of the unfortunate parts of playing this style of Leo where you're just wild swinging crazy. Because you can draw options like that, and the opponent can just play stuff like on curve options, and if they get it right and you get it wrong, then you're going to end up being sad, especially like against a character like Testament, who can just kind of put you on the other side of the map at will. I expect we'll see Leo revert here. I can't imagine Leo's going to get to do too much here. We'll have to see if Testament actually bothers to strike or not, though. Because if Testament strikes and then Leo gets back in... Oh, Testament's going to strike here. We'll have to see if Leo's actually able to get himself back in, though. If Leo's able to get himself back in, he can keep up with this wild swing pressure, especially with Testament in the corner. But it all depends on what we are seeing a strike here with. Leo's just going to wild swing this. We got to focus into the falling. That is unfortunate. So Leo's still going to take the full 5, and they're going to get swept for their troubles. It's like we're going to see the spike get pulled out for Leo. This is going to be when I expect to see Leo revert and end up moving towards Testament. Because Leo's going to have a bad time if they keep trying to wild swing from over here. Yep, here's the advance 3. We're just going to see a cancel advance 3, aren't we? Nope. Leo reverts now. Yeah. Alright, Leo is back to being abilityless. Well, we're just going to see Testament exceed immediately. I don't believe they have a kicker. Yeah, they don't have a kicker. They just get a draw now on every normal, which is nice. They have now transformed themselves into frontside Giovanna without the action strike. Better frontside Giovanna. Alright, we're going to see a Leo strike from hand. Now, we have to see how Testament responds to this, because if Leo gets this option right, and then they're just going to exceed again, and we're in the corner versus Leo. That is not where we really want to be against Testament. Or as Testament. Because in the corner as Testament against exceeded Leo means Leo, if his deck is feeling the spice today, can just kind of delete your health bar. I think Testament's taking a nice long think, because they also know that if they accidentally get stunned or something, then they might be in some trouble. Alright. What did we get? We got the Assault into the Scythe Swing. Assault's going to go first. So this is not going to stun Testament, which does not put Leo in Exceed mode, which is really, really good for Testament. Because Testament does not want to have an Exceed Leo in his face like this. Especially without another copy of like something like Grasp in hand. Now Leo with the advantage here. What will we see? I think Leo's taking a nice little think here. They're just going to draw 2. Now, did Testament draw any of the cards that's going to allow them to get out of this corner? Because Testament doesn't want to be here. Yep, there we go. Testament indeed agreed that they did not want to be there. Leo's just taking a second to probably think about how they want to close this distance. Both of Leo's assaults are gone now because they had to spend 1 to advance 3 to get into Testament's face in the first place, and the other one was spent recently to get advantage. Leo's just going to draw more cards. We're starting to see the wild swing, the Leo wild swing is kind of slowed down a bit here. So I wonder if they're probably just kind of prepping, getting ready to do some combo now that they have Gauge to get back into that backside. Alright, so we ended up with a Calamity Duo in the Gauge from the boost on Nostravia. Yep, and now Testament has +1 range. This means that Sweep and Spike both hit from here. And heck, even Assault technically hits from here. Alright, we're seeing the pull 2 boosted from Leo into a cancel. I'm guessing Leo just kind of wants to get a strike in here. Leo thinking here. Now, notably, Testament is at range 2, so if we see another cross from Testament, Leo's going to be in for a bad time, especially without the advanced 3s anymore. Leo does have a couple of fireballs himself, but just... We're seeing an EX played. from Leo. Kind of curious what this could actually be here. However, this is the one that crosses up. Yeah, it is. Yep, looking for the speed 6 to go ahead and beat the option of a cross. Testament just plays a focus here. Focus is a pretty decent option into this. But this will give Leo advantage. This will exceed them immediately. This was not a wild swing, so it is just 4. This is just 4 damage. So it's only going to be 2 to Testament. Leo will take 3 in response. Testament will draw a card. Alright. Yeah. And they perform the Testament hit as well, which is push, pull 1, and then also draw 1. Leo's just going to go ahead and start with the wild swings again. +1 speed, +1 power. Does Testament have an option in hand? Testament probably just keeping track of these cards here, making sure that he knows what might be coming so he doesn't play the wrong option. Makes a lot of sense. I think probably the one thing we don't want to see Leo draw is either a dive or a cross here, because neither of those cards are going to do much for him. Dive might help them get over anything that Testament plays, but it's not going to hit. And then cross is going to put Leo really far away, which is not what he wants at all. I'm going to position my camera a little better. Alright, there we are. Yeah, I like this camera position a bit better. Testament here taking a nice amount of time to go ahead and think about what they want to play into this wild swing response. What did we get? We got a spike into a con shield, which actually works, funnily enough. Wow, that was a really good defensive spike. Holy smokes. Yeah, that was a really good defensive spike. Alright. Now, Testament at range 3 has options. He does have the other copy of Nostrovia on the table if he really wants it, because Testament and Nostrovia, it hits exactly at range 3 at 5 speed. Obviously, I won't get the extra power because the +2 range behind Leo, or the more than 2 range, or just the exact 2 spaces behind Leo. If there's only 1 space behind Leo, they could look at an additional 2 power. Leo's just going to prep here, reverts back to their non-exceed side, back to abilityless Leo. Now, the sad part here for Leo is Leo doesn't have any more cards to give him an advantage. Looks like we saw a dive played into the Unholy Diver. So Testament is going to deal 1 damage to Leo and retreat. This is looking a little bit dire for Leo as they're running out of options to close themselves in. So they go ahead and spend another boost to advance 2. They're not going to cancel. They're just going to draw 1. Leo down 9 health here. Leo does have pretty decent damage with his backside, but this is looking a little bit grim. 9 health lead is a little bit rough. Testament range 2 now. They could potentially have something like another cross to get out of most of Leo's options. I'm not sure if it escapes Con Shield if the other Con Shield was drawn. No, it doesn't. Let's just the Assault into the block. For that double advantage, the 5 power Assault. We'll have to see if Leo's decides to spend for this or not. Leo's going to spend a dive, take 1 damage. Gate another gauge for the trouble. Testament's going to push Leo back to range 2 and draw 1. Yeah, this backside for Testament. I don't see it all the time, but when I do see it, it feels pretty nice because the extra economy kind of helps. All right, we're going to see the Calamity Duo. I'm going to put the Spike and the Focus into the discard. Return the Slash to hand. That means the Calamity Duo here is 7 power. 3, 1, 2, 4, 6. They are blocking all of the damage from Calamity Duo. Okay. That is both Calamity Duos down now for Leo. Leo's just going to go ahead and take a turn to prep. Can Testament keep up this Assault? They did draw the Slash back in the hand, but if Leo plays something like an on-curve option, they will become exceeded and they will flip back over. Alright, we're going to see the Focus played into the Eisensturm. Testament's just going to go ahead and take 3 damage from this, and then Leo will also take 3 damage from this. Testament will draw 1, and then another 1 because of the draw 1 from Testament's normals. 1 from the Focus, 1 from the normal, it being a normal, and then it will also push Leo back 1. The life lead has gone up by 1, so now we are at 10 points of life difference. Testament updating their tracker over there, seeing what Leo still has in deck. Alright, so we're seeing +4 guard boosted, cancelled into, and then also a +2 power wild swing. Now, this does not have the plus speed. Leo has no more blocks, so this isn't block. Testament here just trying to figure out what this could possibly be so they could play an appropriate response. I think Leo's just kind of betting the house right now. They are at a 10 life deficit. This match is going a little bit rough for them. It looks like Testament's just taking a second to decide what is the best possible thing to use into this. They're just going to play the block. Looks like it's the range 1 grasp, which won't hit anyways, so this is just going to be a free block engage for Testament. Alright. Now, this is entirely Testament's game right now. They just have to decide how they want to handle this. Leo, no cards in hand, only has 7 cards in deck. Testament just going to decide, take a second to decide here what they want to play. I imagine we're going to see a flurry of assaults here. And maybe a potential game close. Yep, there's the first strike. We got the fireball into the slash. The slash will beat out the fireball, of course. It won't stun it. It doesn't matter where Testament puts Leo, because Leo's just going to close 2 afterwards. So we have 5 gauge on Testament. This is too far for the Nostrovia. Testament draws 1. I mean, Leo closes 2, though, so Leo should be at range 1. Yeah, Leo should still be at range 1 because of Graviate Verda. Because this is on hit. Yeah, this is the end. It ended up not mattering anyways. Yeah, I think they died anyways, regardless of which one of these options they drew. Calamity Duo was 7 power. Without another block in hand, there's not really much they can do. Especially with only slows in deck. Yeah. Yeah, so the range 1 didn't end up mattering. They only had slows left in deck. Alright. That means first game goes to Testament with a lead of 18 life. So next here we will see the Polar Knight versus, I don't know where the there it is, versus Milia Rage. Now, Milia has a lot of movement options, and Polar Knight wants to make sure that you're under his ice, or on top of his ice spike, so he can go ahead and just unleash all hell on you. So we're gonna see here how this matchup goes, because this could swing either way. Polar Knight could blow up Milia, and then Milia could also just kind of outmaneuver the Polar Knight and blow them up. Now, it looks like there was a little bit of an internet spike on my end for a second. Hopefully that didn't mess with too many things. Now, Milia is a character that I expect to see a decent amount. She feels really nice to play. She maneuvers quite a bit. She's got some really good shapes. Bad Moon here's crazy card. Just ignore armor. You pump some power on this baby, and this baby's breaking stuff left and right. The boost on it also allows her to get plus up to 3 power because of you can spend up to 3 force. Which means your breakpoints go even harder. Of course, you have the tandem top loop where you can just, if you have the gauge, you can just keep drawing cards if you want and returning tandem top to your hand and advance back and forth over the opponent. She does have the Iron Savior, the sweep leg that goes 3 spaces, hits from range 5, which is really, really crazy. This thing actually follows cross at range 2, or at range 2. That's the funny part about this card. Of course, every time that Milia stuns an opponent, she gets to advance or retreat 2. Or she can just draw 1. On her backside, it also allows her to gain advantage if she stuns an opponent. I haven't seen the backside too often, but I have used it myself, and it is a pretty goofy backside where you can just kind of advantage chain people to death if you really want. Now, Polar Knight, on the other hand, I have seen him a few times now. Polar Knight just kind of blows people up if he gets the setup that he wants. So we'll have to see how Milia maneuvers around these ice spikes, because Milia has to deal with 5 ice spikes on the board. Now, of course, there are only 9 spaces on the board. So that means there will be 4 safe spaces, and the rest are not safe. Now, Polar Knight's going to be able to activate these ice spikes, assuming they're not stunned. All right. Looks like we're gonna see Polar Knight start off with an attack from range 4. Not sure if they have anything to hit the range 4. Oh yeah, I guess they have Shovel Drop, and they have Shovel Drop, and they have the Dive, which is the classic option. They also have the Polar Plow. So they have a few options that hit here. Looks like we're going to see the Dive into the Polar Plow. So they will just trade for 5 for 5. Millie will not get the part of her ability because there was no stun happening there. 1 to 5 sweep. Check out the 1 to 7 sweep. Welcome to the stream, Rose. Bless these Shovel Knight characters and their goofy cards. 1 to 7 sweep. So we see the first Ice Spike go down. Of course, if Millie ever ends up on 1, we can see Polar Knight just kind of blow up the Ice Spike to deal more damage to Millie. Alright, next we're going to see the Focus played into the Grasp. That is a very good call on Polar Knight's part. Polar Knight took their 1 damage, yep. Alright. Looks like we're just having a slugfest here. I'm going to see a sweep played into the Stomp. Milia's going to get pushed out to range 3. We're going to see Milia take 2 damage from the Ice Spike. They'll have to decide if they want to remove the other Ice Spike in order to gain advantage or not. Regardless, they are going to eat this 6, so they are going to go ahead and gain the advantage. And they will get hit for 6 and then have to discard a card at random. Here comes the rest of the sweep. This is a very even game so far. Another Ice Spike will go down right next to Milia. Are we going to see the Polar Knight Exceed? Because I believe when Polar Knight gets to when Polar Knight exceeds, they get to place down Ice Spikes. Yeah, they get to place down 3 Ice Spikes as soon as they exceed. Looks like instead they're just going to opt to go for the strike and keep up this pressure on the Milia. Range 3, of course, Polar does have quite a few options still. But yeah, this game is just a real slugfest right now. Much faster than the other game. We're seeing the Tandem Top played into the Spike. That is unfortunate for Polar Knight, because Tandem Top can actually get out of the Spike. I'm guessing Millie is just going to either, yeah, just advance to get out of the range of the Spike. Makes sense. We will now see Milia gain the life advantage over Polar. 2 Ice Spikes are down on the field. I'm not counting Polar out of this by any means because Polar can just kind of blow up the enemy. I have seen it, and I have experienced it myself. You will think you're winning, and then Polar will just pull out the big guns and blow you up. Yep. Rose also knows the power of Polar. Now, unfortunately, Polar only having 1 card in hand does hurt Polar a little bit. They're probably hopefully that's a defensive card or something, so they don't have to rely completely on wild swings. Oh. Looks like Snom here is just taking a second to Study the field, see what cards are down, think about what they want to do. Because the spike was initiated by Polar. Now, Polar may have two different options for Speed 7, but so does Milia. Milia has a hit gain advantage Speed 7 card, the low kick, which doesn't do her any good against any slows, but it does get another turn on the table. Against Polar, it might be a little bit risky because Polar does have quite a bit of cards with guard. And he does have availability for his ultimates if he really wants as well. Let's see here. Yeah, we have Snow Slash on the table for Polar, the speed 0. Icicle Drop isn't going to do too much because there's no Ice Spike on Milia space. So we're just going to see the strike come down. We're going to see a Wild Swing into a block. This is the Winger. I don't think I've seen this super played before, but it is going to hit for 7. So we'll see how they want to respond. So we're going to see 6 of it blocked. Polar will end up just taking 1 damage. Milia puts herself in the corner. There is no stun here, so Milia is going to just go ahead and advance 2 and get no after effect from her ability. Polar being at 2 cards here. Will they Exceed? Will they prep? Or I don't think they'll Wild Swing, but that is also a possibility here. Unfortunately for Polar, their Ice Spikes are on the opposite side where they want them. Yep, we're just seeing the Exceed. We're getting more Ice Spikes put down. We're getting 3 put down now. 1, 2, 3. So we have 2 Ice Spikes in front of Polar. So we have 5 Ice Spikes in a row, with the safe spaces being on Polar and all the way on the other side of the table. So we're going to see Milia strike here. We're going to see the Wild Swing from Polar, which is going to be a Stomp, which will go first, dealing 3 damage if they decide to, remove the Ice Spike. Will they remove the second one to gain advantage? Probably not, because that was Milia strike, so they will just have they have another Ice Spike there. Yeah, the after only places into unoccupied spaces, so we will not see another Ice Spike placed on Amelia's space. Looks like we're just seeing Polar go ahead and prep here. Life is back to about even. That was a good Wild Swing for Polar, getting the 7 speed out on the table, dealing a nice 3 damage to Milia, evening up that life total. Fortunately, there is no more Ice Spike on her space, but we have options. Milia is going to keep up the aggression with another strike. We're going to see the sweep come out from Polar into the Bad Moon from Milia. This is going to hurt really bad for Milia. Milia, is it only on specials? Nope, it's not only on specials. That is a 9 damage sweep. Holy moly. That is a 9 damage sweep with a discard at random. And the defensive option gets discarded. Milia is in a tad bit of trouble here. That was a very, very good sweep played by Polar Knight. 9 damage is nothing to scoff at. Holy. Polar is striking here. Milia did not gain advantage. So we're going to see the Wild Swing for Milia with the one... It looks like we got the low kick into the Shovel Slam. Now, low kick is going to deal 2 damage to Puller, but I don't think Puller really cares here. Yeah, this is what? Yeah, because it just pushes Milia across to the other Ice Spike from Polar Knight, and this is GG. Yep. 9 damage sleep into 8 damage Shovel Slam. That is disgusting. That was a good game played by both, and now we are 1-1 in the score line here. So we're going to get to see the final game. This is actually the second stream in a row that I have gotten to see the final game on. Most games you just have been ending up in 2-0, or the first couple games I streamed ended up in 2-0, but now we're going to see a 2-1 here. All right. Man. Polar Knight showing us that disgusting damage that they keep in their back pocket. Well, speaking of disgusting damage, we're going to see Mei get put out on the table. Mei is also a menace in her own right, with the spending force to get plus power as opposed to the Ice Spikes being on the table. This will be into Propeller Knight, who does have quite a bit of maneuverability. So we'll have to see if Mei can actually lock down this Propeller Knight in order to dish out the heap of damage that they want. Mei does have ways to get in, such as the Tatsugeki, the close 3. Close 3 push 2 gain advantage. So we'll have to see how this shakes out. Of course, Propeller Knight we've seen on this stream before. Last time we saw Androl play it. And it was played very, very well. Propeller Knight can certainly do some crazy stuff in their own right as well. Of course, Propeller Knight does have another kind of janky way to get their max damage off, which is to hit attacks at their maximum range. All right. So we're going to see Snom go first here on the Propeller Knight, with Mei going second. They're going to get into the mauling here, and then we will get to the Smackdown, or what I assume is going to end up being the Smackdown. Now, Mei at range 4 is going to have to worry about the Headwind, which is speed 5. They also will have to worry about the Cannonball, but not as much so, I imagine. I don't think Cannonball would get played immediately. I do believe, yeah, the Propeller Pull is also another option that they have at range 4. And then, of course, the normal dive. Now, Mei at range 4 has options of her own. She has the Tatsugeki, the dive, the Arasagawa Sparkle. They also have the Mr. Dolphin. I don't expect to see the Mr. Dolphin played at range 4, but they could certainly do it if they really wanted to. But normally, as an opener for Mei, I usually expect to see something like Tatsugeki. Propeller Knight is going to strike first here, though. So we'll have to see if we end up seeing something like a dive or a Tatsugeki played from the Mei, or if Mei's just going to play the defensive option into the Propeller. Alright. We see the defensive option played into the Propeller Pull. So neither attack are going to hit here. I'm not sure why this is going to gauge. Yeah, there we go. Neither attack's going to go to gauge. They're just going to sit there and stare at each other because the focus cannot be pulled by the Propeller Pull. They're just going to end up sitting there. May gets to draw a card, and now May being at 6 cards against the 4-card Propeller is going to have the advantage here. Question is, did May draw the Tatsugeki? Because I imagine that's what May wants to play here in order to keep up the advantage chain going. To get the advantage chain going. We obviously could see the other options I mentioned, but I would have to imagine that we're going to see something like a Tatsugeki here. Alright, let's see it. We got the focus into the dive. So we're going to see 3 damage traded for 4 damage here. May did not pay for her UA, so it will not be 4 for 4. Propeller Knight's just going to go ahead and take a prep action here, hand it back to May. Now, I imagine we might see an Exceed May this game. Imagine we'll see both these players Exceed. May is going to bump up to +2 power on her Exceed. Propeller is going to gain more movement on his Exceed. Not a whole lot shown yet. We're just going to see another strike immediately from May. We're going to see the sweep into the Propeller pull. Propeller pull is going to go second. It will not get stunned because the UA was not paid for. I'm a little bit surprised the UA wasn't paid for at this range. So it looks like the spike was discarded at random for May. Both players are going to take 6 here. Yeah, they're both going to take 6 here because the +2 power from the UA. Yep. Looks like Propeller has not taken damage yet. There we go. And we saw the overhead kiss get thrown out. The range 1 spike from May. That's kind of unfortunate because that boost is actually really, really nice. The card's also a nice mix-up as well, because you can just kind of... It's a range 1 spike. Opponent plays a slow instead of the grasp, then you just kind of smack them and they cry. Otherwise, it has a nice boost on it. You know, draw 2 and then draw 1 for end of turn, hit, gain advantage. Nice reload card. I have to imagine May is just saving up for the Exceed. Because May is just kind of saving her gauge. Propeller's also saving their gauge. I imagine we're just going to see a double Exceed here. Well, actually, Propeller's didn't Exceed yet, so maybe we're not seeing a double Exceed. Propeller just go ahead and strike again. Propeller could very well just be playing on curve here, the cross, and then we'll see Propeller leave and then Exceed. Of course, if we see that, we'll probably also see May. Well, May initiates a strike on her Exceed, so maybe not. Looks like May is going to take a second to think how to respond to this strike here. They're just going to wild swing it. Right, we got a Tatsugeki into a spike. That's actually kind of funny because Tatsugeki pushes the spike back into range for the spike to actually hit. Yeah, the UA wasn't paid for again. So we're going to see the spike actually go off here. That is pretty funny. May range 3 can actually go ahead and flip here pretty comfortably and make a strike. They might run into something like a cross if they do that, but cross isn't going to exactly hit here. What else do they have to worry about at range 3? They have to worry about the saber lunge as well. Yeah, we're just seeing the May strike. Exceed strikes, draw 2. Now, if I'm May here, I'm kind of a little bit scared that I'm going to get saber lunged if I play something unsafe. We are paying for the UA with the Arasagawa Sparkle. So no seal today. Question is, will we see the Saber Lunge Blade, or are we just going to see something simple like a defensive option or a cross? We just saw the block come out into the Tatsugeki. So this is a 6-power Tatsugeki. And a push to gain advantage. Propeller deciding if they want to get rid of anything. They get rid of the Ultra. They get rid of the Launcher. Alright. May back at range 3. With advantage, both Tatsugekis down. May, of course, having access to the Assault still, if they really want, but does still have to be worried about that Saber Lunge. Saber Lunge will stun them out of anything that they might want to do. We are seeing a strike with the Tatsugeki removed from gauge in order to get that force for the +2 power. We see an assault being played into an assault. That is a 6 power assault. That is not good for Propeller Knight. We have more advantage for May at range 1. I'm guessing we'll just see this advantage chain continue. Nope, we're just seeing a +1 power, +1 speed. Now draw 1, and then draw 1 for end of turn. Bit of a reload here for May. We could potentially see the Exceed here from Propeller Knight. Or Propeller Knight just kind of getting around looking for a more favorable position. Of course, they do get to move on their Exceed. So we'll have to see what they want to go ahead and do here. Looks like we're just seeing a strike. A strike into a +1 speed, +1 power May. We do have swoop from the... Alright, so we're seeing a cross into a grasp. I'm actually surprised that we didn't just see the grasp come out from May herself with a UA. So I wonder if May just doesn't have grasp here, because that would have been an 8-speed grasp. 8 speed could have made it +3 power, so it could have been a 6 power grasp, but it's 8 speed. I'm a bit surprised we do not see that, but that is okay. We're seeing another card played, and the UA boosted for May. So we got the +2 power on deck again. Back at range 3. Seeing a wild swing from Propeller into the sweep with the 6 power assault, so both players will take 6 here. As the game is just a bloodbath. There goes the Mr. Dolphin. Propeller over here with all the gauge. Question is, does Propeller use this gauge? I don't actually... Okay, they could technically hit with full broadside, but that's kind of risky at 5 life against May. Because May at 5 life, or May when it's her turn, can just kind of blow up the Propeller Knight if the Propeller Knight doesn't have any defensive options in hand. Yeah, this is coming down to the wire. 6 to 5, both players can end each other in a single strike. Which is pretty spooky. It's just been back and forth, blow for blow. I think we're about to see the end of the game here, in all honesty. See the cross into the headwind. Yep. May will take it. This is a 5 power cross. That was incredibly fast. Alright. Well, that means Vigma will go ahead and take this set 2-1 over Snom. When in the final match being the May versus Propeller, 6 health to 0. That was those last 2 games were crazy explosive. First game was a bit on the slower end. Next 2 games, insanely explosive. Blow for blow for blow for blow, with tons of damage just being dished out back and forth. Absolutely nuts, those last 2 games. Alrighty. How long did that last? That lasted 54 minutes. Wow. Actually, I think that's gonna be a little bit slower. Either right as fast as Andrel's match, or a little bit slower than Andrel's match. Those last games went crazy. Yeah, surprisingly, given it was a Leo game. Yeah, the Leo versus Testament was actually slower than this. That's crazy. But anyways, well, with that being the end of the game, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the stream here. Thank you for showing up, and I hope you all have the good rest of your day.